Hello everybody. I'm feeling a little blue today, but not because of this Minecraft snapshot. It's got some cool stuff, including this guy, the Zaml Jockey, which is totally definitely the official name for this absolute unit, which consists of 3 mobs, 2 of which are new to this snapshot. We've got the Zaml itself, which is officially known as a Camel Husk, but that's just underwhelming. And then a brand new skeleton variant of a husk, just like zombie is to husk. You have skeleton is to this guy, who is called the Parched. And all together, they can spawn at light level 0 in deserts. This was actually a natural spawn. I just set it today after he spawned so we could see him better. And if we set ourselves into survival here, we can encounter and experience this, which is actually quite difficult to deal with if you don't have ranged weaponry, because it works the same way as you riding a camel, where it's freaking difficult to be able to actually get hits. Although I suppose the spear does well because it hits them all at the same time. But this guy, he also has a spear and he hits you in return. It's about a heart each time he hits you, even though I'm in full unenchanted diamond armor. And the Parched riding on the back, he's shooting weakness arrows. You see, I've got weakness every time I'm getting hit by him. Since I don't really have a good offensive setup right now, I will probably die if I keep on trying to fight. I'm also trying not to, kill by using the spear that I have on hand. Anyway, if I equip myself with a little bit better setup here, I can show you, though. If I try to hit the husk on the front or the Parched on the back, it is quite difficult, actually, and I will probably die. So it seems like the better way to do it is you want to shoot them off if you can, if your goal is to preserve the Camel Husk so that you can ride it afterwards. So the Camel Husk is only aggro coming at you if it's ridden by hostile mobs, a la the Zamel Jockey. However, after the fact, it behaves much like you would expect any other camel to, so you can equip it with a saddle, and then you can ride it around, and it's essentially just a new camel variant that behaves like all other camels, which is pretty cool. So if you don't have a Zaml and you want to get one, then, the goal is eliminate the husk and the Parched from the top without hurting the camel. Anyway, to focus a bit more on the Parched, if we set it to nighttime, they do just spawn naturally in the desert. So if we wander around a little bit, we should start to see a few of them spawning, in addition to normal skeletons that can still spawn here. So we have these guys, these are the Parched, and then normal skeletons still spawning amongst them. And even if they're not on top of the Zaml, they do still shoot their weakness arrows regardless. So something to be cautious about. Obviously, it's going to make it so you hit a lot less hard if you're trying to go after them or any other mob. And the Zaml, or the Camel Husk itself, it only spawns as the Jockey, so you won't just find it without the saddle spawning on its own in the desert. You'll always find it as the Jockey. You have to eliminate the riders, and then you can ride the camel yourself, but it won't just spawn on its own. And then, as mentioned previously, these guys, they won't burn in the daylight, similar to the husks. Also, if you want to take a look at the Zamel Jockey without having to wander around and find one, because obviously it doesn't have its own spawn egg, our resident genius, Mr. Norton, gave a command that you can use, and I'll paste it in the description so that you can spawn one, and it'll, you can look at it. Also, if we wanted a quick little action shot here of our guy, can tick freeze him, and then we can just get a closer look as he's lunging at us with the spear, which is it's kind of cool. And then we've got our Parched over here. Closer look at him, since they're brand new mobs and all that stuff. We got some cool detail on the ribs. You can see that he's actually fully hollow on the inside, allowing the Parched to really get good leverage on hooking in so he won't go anywhere during very, very high G-force movements that happen as they're riding around on this thing, because boy, is it nimble. While we're tick frozen, I could go over a quick change with the spears, and more specifically the lunge enchantment, which, if you've missed it in the snapshots, is a specific enchantment for the spears, allows you to shoot forward horizontally only, doesn't work with elytras. they've gone through a few iterations now. So the first one, it destroyed the heck out of your spear, would destroy a wooden spear in one shot if you were using lunge 3, and you couldn't put mending on a spear. So it was kind of useless. Then I think they made it so you can put mending on. And now where we're at today in this snapshot is that lunge actually only consumes 1 durability of the tool when it's used. However, as you can see, my hunger dramatically goes down every time that I use it. So instead of it taking tool durability, it takes hunger, which I think is a much better way to handle it. And I saw some people suggesting that in community comments and such. So it's good that they went with this approach. It's obviously I'm oversaturated at the beginning. That's why my food doesn't go down immediately. But then as I continue to use it, I believe we're dropping by 3 hunger units every time on lunge 3. And when you don't have enough hunger anymore, then, well, no more. Eat some food. You're hungry. You aren't you when you're hungry. Okay, now you probably thought that the biggest addition in this snapshot was the Zamel Jockey, but I'm here to tell you otherwise, and let me show you why. All right, I'm gonna ride my horse here. He's a very amazing horse. He jumps very high. He has decent speed. Worked very hard. I just spawned him in. But up until now, God, if you had to get your horse over to there, what a massive pain that it was. No more. Because now, okay, well, maybe if you jump in, it doesn't work so super well. You gotta just walk in. But now, horses, donkeys, mules, camels, they can float and swim. This is actually just revolutionary because how many times have you been like, yeah, I could get a horse, I suppose, maybe, but then if I ever need to cross any sort of body of water, how big of a pain is it going to be? I'm going to have to build a bridge or, lead it or take some other means. Well, you can just cross water now. And that to me is actually like the biggest change in this snapshot. See, if you go slowly, he won't sink and then kick you off. Oh no, our Zamel Jockey, he despawned. If you just leave it, walk away, it just behaves like any other normal hostile mob. Although it's funny, it just dropped the parched and the husk still equipped with a spear off of him. But since we got the other one saddled over there, he doesn't despawn in the same way. Anyway, this is so good. Thank goodness they did this. Okay, a couple more things that are more menu settings. They added a new video setting, which a lot of you have probably already seen in your history of playing if you've used mods like Sodium, Optifine. They've added anisotropic filtering. I tried to toggle it on and off to give like a before and after. It's really hard to see much of a difference. Also, it does require your hardware to support it, which most people, their hardware probably does support it, but it improves looking at textures at an angle from far away and makes it a little bit more smooth as it transitions into the distance. As far as I understand, this is more technical stuff than I usually go into, but that's there. A more noticeable change, which you might have a hard time like putting your finger on, something feels different as I'm moving around and like loading and unloading chunks. So I'm gonna drop my render distance down a bunch, and I'm gonna say what they did here is it's the bedrock chunk loading effect, because that's what it reminds me of. So they made it so that chunks loading in now, they kind of fade in a bit. So I moved away a little bit, and now I'm gonna crank up my render distance here, and as the chunks load in, they kind of, it's not an instant just pop. It's got a little bit of a dissolve, a fade into it as I'm chugging things super hard, bringing it up to 32. Hopefully we're still here. We're still in it to win it. But it's just, it's not like, people are going to be like, they're bringing Bedrock to my Java Minecraft. It just looks that way. I don't think it really changes anything else for bringing Bedrock to your Java Minecraft. But that's just the easiest comparison that I can make. Speaking of it being menu setting related, you can also adjust the amount of fade in time. So if you don't like it at all, you can still have your chunks pop in. On the other hand, if you want it to be very smooth and long duration, you can set it all the way up to 2 seconds. And it doesn't just affect brand new chunks being loaded in. If you just expand your render distance, you'll notice, like, as you exit the menu, you see that fade in take place. And as I turn around here, it just takes a little bit longer for the chunks to show up, even though they've already been loaded before. So it's not just a brand new chunk thing. Even there, when I exit the menu, it seems like it does the little fade in just when I change the render distance, even though it was on the way down. Anyway, those are the main things for this snapshot. Hope you've enjoyed. Make sure to like the video, stay tuned for more updates, and I'll see you in the next one.